Before Paul does, I'd just like to say thanks to Father Tony for all the assistance he gave us in preparing the liturgy. Without him, we would have been in big trouble. Now, Archbishop Peter can hear me say that. The committee that was behind today and has made it just work so seamlessly, I'd like to thank them. They know who they are. I'm not going to mention them and ask them to stand up, but I think that they did a fantastic job. All I did was stand back and flick the whip occasionally, but that was the easy part. So now I did ask Archbishop Peter if he wanted to say something, and he said he didn't. So,
I said it in Mass.
I was going to ask if anybody else wanted to say anything, but then I thought, no, that might not be the right thing to do. But I am going to introduce Paul Mitchell and ask Brother Paul to address us.
Thank you for fulfilling my wishes.
Short and sweet.
Your Grace, Archbishop Peter Comensoli, Bishop Les Tomlinson, National Chaplain of the Knights of the Southern Cross Australia, Bishop Hilton Deakin, former State Chaplain, and Bishop Peter Connors, former National Chaplain, Monsignor Franco, and of course Father Tony Kerin.
Closer to your mouth, Paul. Yep.
Apologies. Also, Knights of Honour, life members, State Councillors, brothers and friends. Welcome to our centennial celebration. Today's Mash and social gathering is a fitting recognition of the years our founders and their successors spent praying and working for Catholic men, our bishops and clergy, and others in our society in need. The diversity and generosity of our order members' activities throughout our existence gives us much to remember and to celebrate. In doing so, let us gain strength from our history and be invigorated to look forward with faith to what is still possible. But what is possible, you might ask? I've been told on more than one occasion, we've heard it all before, Paul. Over a period of 100 years, of course, there have been many occasions learnt from written history and from living memory. And our Archbishop has mentioned the prayers and good deeds that our order was based upon. Our members rely upon this to justify the way forward. Over the last 2 years of COVID pandemic, they've been difficult on many levels. We now find ourselves coming out of those impositions on how we keep our faith alive, how we raise money for our causes, and how a fraternal order meets. None of the solutions came to us from our history or lived experience. Our survival was the result of prayer and trust in new ways. We found solace in experiencing Mass through live streaming. We found Zoom meetings brought us together regardless of where the members lived. We found the time to do things that were well overdue, such as the survey of members online, changing our constitution to accord with modern legislation and the realities of a smaller membership. These things are mentioned by me to encourage a belief in our own resilience and to embrace change, not for its own sake, but for what it can project us forward without having to adhere to past practice. For much of its history, the Knights was managed by a state council of up to 20 men. More recently, it has been fewer, but the traditional portfolios remain. I'm confident the present State Council of 8 men, with the support of some small specialist committees, will serve the order into the future. These committees of State Council, they're based upon what a modern organisation needs and what members themselves told us were important to them. For example, they cover church and clergy integration, faith, fraternity. None of this will bear fruit, of course, without good management. So there's also advisory panels on governance and planning. At this point, you may well ask, why is Paul attempting to address a celebratory afternoon tea with this dry topic? It's because I value the knowledge and expertise of my audience, which includes both members of our order and supporters, who are all important to the growth and success of the Knights. Your involvement will be central to the progress which is achievable. Just as it was possible in 2020 and 2021 for the Priest Support and Education Fund to raise $123,000 for Archbishop Peter without even being able to hold the usual Archbishop's dinner. Just as it was possible in 2021 to hold 2 state conferences and a seminar, all with great attendance by Zoom teleconferencing in the midst of COVID lockdowns. These were your achievements when many others were still struggling. During this centenary year, I add another dimension by drawing attention to the needs of our members, particularly those through various circumstances are no longer able to attend meetings or functions. In last December's Crusader, I wrote about wanting the Knights to be an order revitalised and growing through a commitment to our faith and a reminder the objects of our order call upon charity to be practised in all its meanings. It is fitting that February has been designated the month of fraternity, not just because it coincides with the anniversary for which we are gathered, but as I mentioned before, fraternity is one of our priorities, and State Council is encouraging members to revitalise the many ways our objects of the order can be fulfilled by being a good neighbour. In conclusion, it's also worth noting that 2022 is the 175th anniversary of the Melbourne diocese. It also happens to be the 125th anniversary of St Patrick's Cathedral. A very significant year for the life of our archdiocese. In all, a wonderful time to be a member of the Knights of the Southern Cross in Victoria, and I thank you for being part of our centennial celebration.
Thank you, Brother Paul. I think that was well said, and there's a message in that. It's as powerful a message as Archbishop Peter's poem. And I hope somebody's got a copy of that. He did leave it lying around. I didn't see anybody photographing it. Oh, good.
Equal position of interpretation.
Somebody had to have it. There's one person in particular that I would like to thank for this afternoon, and that's David Pindlay. He organised the caterers, and I think they have done a fantastic job. But it's because of the work that David put into it. He had the contacts, and I think it has worked extremely well. We said that we were going to try to minimise formalities this afternoon, so unless anybody wants to say something. Monsignor Franco, do you want to say anything?
I should say thank you. Just one word.
As the host for here and the church, I think it's quite big.
Thank you, John. There'll be no more preaching, I promise. One of the things I often draw upon whenever I'm sitting down quietly nibbling something tasty, I thought, all of this talk of the Knights and what they've been doing, what they're about, and what their aim in life and all the rest of it, reminds me of a comment that I heard from, as I was going through the seminary some years ago, I think it might have been 40 or 50, an Anglican priest that said, Franco, don't worry too much about, what priests have to do or be concerned with or what have to say and all the rest of it. He said, let me just put it this way. A priest should only be concerned with the glory of God, the pain of the world, and the renewal of the church. And I was thinking that, and I thought, that's the Knights. The glory of God, yes. Pain in the world, all those wonderful challenges. Renewal of the church, well, I for one can vouch for the fact that when I was a student, I was very richly rewarded, I have to say, with a very attractive check, donation, whatever you call it, to students. And they said, this is for you, Franco, because obviously you have a great love of books, and this will help you buy all those things that you desperately want to enjoy and share around with you. And I remember at the time saying this to the rector of the seminary. He said, what do you need books for? And I said, well, I love them. I don't just enjoy reading them, I actually want to own them so that I can give them around to other people. So thank you all today. What a wonderful work you have done, but there's more wonderful work just waiting to be done. So thank you all today.
Thank you, Monsignor Franco.
I've just got two other thank yous to say. I mentioned in the announcements that we had some visitors from South Australia, but I think I mentioned them by name. So we have Ian Fleetwood and Brian, who came over this morning on a flight. They're staying with Colin Walsh, and they'll fly back this evening. So thank you very much for your attendance here today.
That's it? Nothing more.